Okay, good evening and welcome to the April 16th business meeting of the Council of the Borough of Ringwood. This meeting is being broadcast live, will be replayed on Channel 77, and will also be updated to YouTube. And all our previous meetings are currently up on YouTube. Nicole, please read the statement of compliance, please.
Adequate notice of this business meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Publics Meeting Law, PL 1975, Chapter 231, setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this business meeting by consent agenda resolution number 2019-11, adopted January 2nd, 2019, through a legal notice published in the Suburban Trends issue of January 13th, 2019, and through notices emailed to the following named newspapers and posted in the bulletin board at the Borough Hall on January 7th, 2019. The Suburban Trends and the Bergen Record.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Martucci?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Here.
Council members Bolton?
Here.
Davison?
Here.
Ferretti?
Here.
O'Keefe? Here. Spear?
Here.
Also present is the Borough Manager, Director, Department of Public Works, Scott Hecht, Acting Municipal Clerk Nicole Langemeyer, and Borough Attorney Richard Kleemak. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, proclamations and presentations. We have a proclamation for Earth Day. Whereas the cohabitants of this earth, we need a day to celebrate our global unity and destiny. And whereas the observance of Earth Day will alert concern and interest for our planet with its precious treasure of living things, and whereas the Earth Day is to remind each person of his and her right and the equal right of every other person to use as a global home, at the same time the equal responsibility of each person to preserve and improve the earth and the quality of life thereon. Now therefore be proclaimed that the Municipal Council of the Borough of Ringwood hereby designates Earth Day as a special day to celebrate the natural wonders of the planet. Okay. Next on the agenda, we'll have a brief presentation from Cap Solar.
Yeah, Mayor, over the past, I don't know, a bunch of months, I've been meeting with Cap Solar to talk about some different options. We've looked at a lot of different properties in town, and I thought it was appropriate that they come and introduce themselves and as they're starting this process. And so they have a brief presentation this evening, just to kind of let you know what they're about. And so with that, I will certainly introduce them. Sure. The only thing I would ask you, if you could speak into the mic, you might have to raise that up, otherwise the TV's not going to hear you.
Good evening. My name's Bob Halsh, and I'm the CEO of Greater Bergen Community Action. We're a nonprofit organization that works to create more sustainable families, community institutions, and neighborhoods throughout New Jersey. And we do this in a variety of ways through strategic investments in housing, in energy, in healthcare, in workforce development, and the like. And we've been doing this for 50 years throughout North Jersey. Several years ago, we were looking at our own energy bills as a company and we're heavily taxpayer funded. We get a lot of government grants, and we're always looking to drive the cost of operations down. So we were looking at our energy bills, and we looked at all the ways of potentially controlling our energy costs. And when we looked at everything, we eventually got to renewables and we got to solar. And we got to looking at how solar works, how it's financed, basically how people are constructing and operating solar systems in New Jersey. And what we found was that most of the for-profit solar developers are, making a substantial amount of money doing this, and they are driving down the cost of energy only slightly relative to the cost of the power companies. And most of the way this is financed is through private investment, where they get tax credits, and so the investors and the developers are taking the lion's share of the gain economically and not driving the cost as low as potentially possible to the end user. And so we decided we would create our own solar power company. And we created a subsidiary company called Cap Solar. And what Cap Solar did was to put solar PV on the rooftops of nonprofit operating facilities throughout New Jersey, hospitals, healthcare centers, daycare centers, schools, and the like. And we drove these power costs 50% lower than the O&R or the PSE&G or the Jersey Central Power and Light costs. And so in the process of doing that, we began to look at, well, how can we not just do this for community institutions? How can we do this for the lower income household segment of our community? And it was very, very difficult to do because the way the solar rules work in New Jersey, you have to install the solar and use it in the place where you install it. So you put it on a rooftop and you use the power in that facility where you put it. So we would have had to do that one household at a time, and as a nonprofit doing this, driving the cost as low as we needed to drive it to meet our mission, this was very, very difficult to finance. So we have waited for this day when New Jersey is finally rolling out something called community solar. Community solar will allow us to build a solar farm on a large swath of land, create a number of megawatts of power in one place, and we can now sell this power anywhere in the utility area where it is produced. So we could create a solar farm here, for example, and we could sell that power to households in Ringwood, basically anywhere they reside, as well as community institutions in Ringwood, as well as the municipality itself. Okay, so pilot projects are essentially competitive, and the RFP has come out, and we are now looking to respond to that RFP and go to the Board of Public Utilities, who we've been meeting with. And they, by the way, are very, very interested in the concept of driving power costs low to low-income households and to community institutions that serve those families. So they're very open to this, and we believe we will be very, very competitive because of our mission and because of the end user that we are targeting. So we've been looking at opportunities throughout the state, and we've been looking in Ringwood as well. And so we've been talking to Scott about what that might look like here and where the opportunities might lie. And that brings us here this evening to introduce ourselves to you and talk a little bit about how we think it could work and what opportunity might exist, here in the borough of Ringwood. And with that, I'm going to introduce Steve Leitner, who's the Chief Operating Officer of Cap Solar. He makes the company work. And he'll take you through a little bit more detail, and only a little tonight. We're not going to keep you long. To just kind of talk conceptually about how this could work.
Just going to get the computer set up. When that
It's finicky.
Yeah, when it gets ready to go, I'll put it on the proper slide.
Oh, did it get hot and shut down? Oh, there you go.
Okay. I'm Stephen Leitner. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Cap Solar. Thank you for having us. And now that it's ready. One of the things that we really like about the community solar project that's been released from the Board of Public Utilities is that unlike any in the country, it mandates a 40% low and moderate income carve-out for the entire pilot. There are 3 phases of the pilot. They are 1 year apart. They are very, very limited. By my estimation, talking around the industry, there will be between 15 and 30 pilots awarded, and probably 1,000 to 1,500 programs applying. So it's highly competitive. And we think that with our roots in the low-income community, which is what a community action agency does. And in the solar industry, that we have a unique blend of customer that will interest the pilot at the BPU. So we have been looking at these two particular sites. You'll notice one is south of the O'Connor remediation zone, and one is across the street. We chose these with Scott because of their proximity to infrastructure. The O&R distribution hub is there, and the area seems to be used, we can use the area for something that's really community positive. So unlike other solar developers who look at the most creditworthy customers first, we go in the opposite direction. We would like to take low income and the moderate income client and service them first with the lowest prices. And then we would look at the seniors in Ringwood, and then municipalities, and then other nonprofits, and then anybody else that could fit in. The reason why this is limited to 2 megawatts is because that is the limit the Board of Public Utilities has put on any project in Orange and Rockland territory. The reason why we're looking at the area south of the O'Connor remediation site is because these projects need to be submitted within the next 6 months for phase 1. Phase 2 it will be a year after that, or a year and a little after that, and phase 3 following. The cap that's been proposed for the O'Connor site won't be ready for at least a year and maybe more. In order to get a project into the BPU, we need a site that's ready to go now, and then can look at possibly, when the cap is done at O'Connor, moving another pilot phase 2 up there. Since this is so competitive, we do believe that without a successful application in phase 1, that there's no guarantee for a phase 2, and therefore we'd like to concentrate on one of these 2 areas. With that, I can take any questions anybody may have.
So, Steve, some of the things that we talked about were that you could identify the area, like the folks in and around the area would obviously be identified as an area that would receive whether low and mid or moderate income or not, and then it could branch out to other members of the community.
Absolutely.
Do you know what your low and moderate numbers are off the top of your head?
The number of people.
No, for the dollar.
Yeah,
amount,
it's
so
on that page. It's 200% of poverty and 80% or 70% of the HUD mean income level. So it's between about 50,000 and 75,000 and below for Ringwood. A lot of our other programs at Greater Bergen are service, the government programs Bob was referring to, service 100% and below poverty. So we have access to some of these off-takers that we would like to concentrate on. But all the way, and there's about 4,500 homes or plots of land to build homes in Ringwood. So we can foresee maybe a complete or an almost complete saturation of the low mod off-taker, and then we would go up into those other areas, seniors, the library, a fire station, and then maybe some other community-based nonprofits.
And the only way that it really works now, because until this new pilot program came out, which came out a week or so ago, you couldn't build a farm and then use it anywhere else except on your existing site. So that's why we had such trouble when we tried to do like the park and ride. We tried to do some of those other things because the models just didn't work because we don't use enough power to make that work. So the difference with this particular program, and the reason that I'm repeating some of this is for the folks who have lived this over a couple of years, make it certainly more appealing to be able to distribute this power amongst the entire community and outside of the community if in fact we don't use enough of it.
That's correct. That is correct. So the area up here is very rocky. So it would be, you have shadowing issues, and putting things on rooftops would really only scratch the surface of what you actually could do. It doesn't actually help the people that this program is intended to help, because you have to own a home, it has to be in good condition in order to get the benefit of that power on your roof.
And for everyone's perspective, it's hard to see on the map what size, what area are you talking about for both of those areas highlighted?
Each one of those areas is 10 acres, and with the first phase of the pilot, we could only use 1. So we've been doing some study with the Highlands Council on the land use for each one of those.
Okay, great. Do you have any questions? Or?
Yes.
Yes, would there be a financial benefit also to the borough for leasing of the land for the solar farms?
There could be where we have to choose a piece of land for that in order to happen. Now, understand that our models are different than others.
Okay.
So we boil our models down to the point where if there's an increase in cost, the only thing that changes is the cost of power. So if you're looking to help the people of Ringwood, if that would be something that would be negotiable, then we could lower the cost of power.
I see.
We're a nonprofit, so we
Right.
don't make an outstanding, anything other than an operating expense to run this. So everything that we changes the cost to the customer.
Okay, and these two sites that you identified are about 10 acres each, is what I understand.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
The O'Connor landfill site is about 32 acres, I believe, in total. And also, a cap would probably be ideal for that situation. Does going with Phase 1 put us in a favorable light for Phase 2?
It does. It does, to prove that this is a unique business model. As I said, all the other developers are looking for a profit-based top-down, and we're going in the other direction to help the people who are low income and then go bottom up. So yes, if we don't have something like this in Phase 1, it's highly doubtful that we will have something that's provable in Phase 2.
It was really good news to hear that you'd be able to extend this to the municipalities, the fire departments, also the library. Music to my ears, and I'm sure to everybody else out there that's listening. How about our schools? Would they also be considered under this program?
They could be, but this is believe it or not, a 10-acre project is pretty small.
Yes, I do believe that,
And-
but I'm already thinking of Phase 2.
And your schools are federally funded. So
Okay.
one of the goals of including seniors and municipalities and nonprofits are that the nonprofits serve your community.
Right.
And the lowering of the price for the municipality will have an indirect benefit to the entire community, whether
Absolutely.
they're subscribed to this or not.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
How long would this take to get done?
To build, if there is the pilot will be awarded within 6 to 8 months, and it'll take approximately about a year, maybe less, to build it, depending on which site is chosen.
Some of the reasons that we looked at identifying parcels that were facing the right direction and the topography was right, and that we looked at parcels that we wouldn't necessarily be using for any type of income property, so that we could keep the benefit to the borough very low, so that we can pass that on to the folks so that they can get cheaper energy. The higher the costs are for leasing and renting land that they have, the less that they can pass along.
Right.
And we kind of felt that the benefit that the borough would get is, A, we'd be helping some of the low and moderate folks in town, and we would be helping ourselves by reducing the actual budgets for our energy.
There's an ancillary benefit to this as well. So Greater Bergen is a 50-year-old nonprofit, as Bob said, and all of the services that it provides are provided to a community that needs to be lifted out of an aspect of poverty. So we're not just going to sell power. We're going to analyze the sale of that power. We're going to analyze the payment histories, and we'll be able to wrap all 27 other projects that we have now around the people that need it, who are having difficulty paying their bill. And in addition to that, we aim to, when the financial models are done, we aim to try to lower the cost of power so much or enough that the people that are using energy assistance programs that are distributed through the states, through the federal government, do not need to use those anymore, thus making that program, which is very scarce, because we run one, making that program available to other people.
Right.
So there are benefits other than cheap power, and
Right.
all those other benefits is what the BPU was.
There's also benefits for climate change. and
Exactly.
The way we're producing power, so I think it's a great program.
I have a question, sir. Would there be any indirect or direct liability on the part of the borough for your project?
No,
We would
no.
have to we would not have to post any guarantees supporting you, any indemnification?
I'm not aware of any. What we do now with the other nonprofits that we are on their roof, we pay them a de minimis lease and carry an extensive insurance policy. That is, I think that program was $4 million an incident. That can be revisited. Those were obviously those were spaces that were highly trafficked. But the insurance policy would be something that
And
we
in your
would,
build-out, would you require any other borough assets, property, or assistance?
not that I'm aware of. Some assistance, the assistance comes in the form of the business model. So how low does the borough want its price? And then we can talk about some of the places with facilitation with O&R, and other things that would just help us lower the cost of building it, which would lower the price significantly.
And how many, if there were a lease, how many years would you be looking for?
The project is going to be 15 years, possibly 20, but it can be as little as 10 depending on some of the incentives at the Board of Public Utilities.
In your experience, do you ever post guarantees? For instance, if you have to remove the site, the assets for whatever reason, have you ever been asked to submit letters of credit or guarantees or anything?
I believe the first project we did was with a major Wall Street bank, and all of that was handled in a very big volume of paper. So we have the attorneys that handle this specific solar business and specific renewables that will produce or consult on any of these matters.
And what would you be looking for from the council this evening, sir?
Well, this was framed as an introduction, so you could meet us to get to feel, what the mood in the room was for something like this, and then come back and make a more detailed presentation while still working on trying to get these properties more in line with development.
And when do you have to get your application in? Did you say?
September is the deadline for the application. They're very rigid about when that application comes in. We would like to do it a little bit beforehand because the Board of Public Utilities will call some of the people who are applying in to make formal presentations such as this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Over a period of 15 years, technology changes. So in terms of the solar panels or the product that you put in there, does it get upgraded or?
Panels are rated for 25 years. They degrade over that period of time very little. The other equipment that is to be installed has about a 10-year warranty, and in the financial models, we accrue for their replacement as their warranty expires.
And so you had said, obviously the energy goes first to the low and moderate income residents, but then any capacity that's generated that they don't use is available to seniors within the community, borough-run organizations, library, nonprofits, firehouses, the borough directly?
Yes.
Is that correct? So like we could lower our costs for this
That is
building?
that is correct. And the way community solar works is for example, you give me your account number, and then with our processes, the utility would tell us the average amount of energy you use over a year. That amount is set aside for you. A lot of other developers looking for a maximum profit will take 20% of your utility bill. We'll take 50%. We want to take as many 100% of the utility bill at the lowest scale and go up. So at the end, the municipality may get 50%, they may get 100%, depending on how many other people in Ringwood we'd want to help.
The only caveat I think to that is we have part of our community in Jersey Central, which we could not include them in this program, and the borough assets that are in Jersey Central could also not be included. So this is really
Yep.
a Rockland area, so it would be a Rockland benefit, unless there's some way we could bring those folks in somehow. But I think we'd have to look for another alternative in the Jersey Central, if in fact we were going to have that part of town managed in this program.
Correct.
Do we have borough property that we own in that part of town that would be a potential candidate?
We've spent a lot of time looking at sites. We haven't looked at a lot of those sites at this point because they're on a time constraints, and this one is right. The beauty of this particular site is, I don't know if you can see it, but the Rockland Electric substation is immediately adjacent to it. A lot of the costs associated with some of these programs are the infrastructure running from your actual solar farm to the grid. This one happens to be right next door.
Yeah, the estimated costs, if you're talking on the back of a napkin for interconnection, are anywhere between $10,000 and $1 million. It depends. There is a extensive.
How far off the beaten path it really is.
And how much capacity that the utility has in that location. So if there's not enough capacity there and down line, then they're going to charge you to upgrade their facilities. I understand this facility was just upgraded, which is why we stuck around this area. The margins in this project are very thin for us to, again, return all of the low power, the lowest cost of power that we possibly can to, again, the low income and then up. So these were chosen specifically because of that, because we knew that it was upgraded and it's very close.
You identified 2 sites here of 10 acres each.
Mhm.
Is it possible to do both of those sites in phase 1?
We wish it were, but
Okay.
there is a 75 megawatt total for the entire state. Orange and Rockland has been given 1.8% of that, which is, I'm sorry, it's been given 2% or something like that, which equals 1.8 megawatts. So that is unfortunately for the first pilot, the maximum amount they can do.
These sites were sized to roughly give you the 1.5 megawatts.
Yes.
And we looked at many sites. We've done a couple tours, and we've looked at many sites. These were just the 2 that were the most appealing to you
Correct.
folks.
Correct. For location, for the infrastructure, and for the fact that, that they were kind of ready to go.
In terms of the actual panels and the project itself, are all of those costs borne by the pilot, or is the borough a financial partner? in any way?
As the solar developer, all the costs are borne by us.
In terms of the lots, is one or the other more preferred? Just in terms of the.
They both have their pros and cons. The pro with the site that's south of the O'Connor remediation zone is obviously closer to distribution, will most likely be cheaper. The site on the other side by the water tank is, it's more remote, so it'll be less visible. One of them will have an easier time getting past the Highlands Council. That's the northern site. And the southern site would have to probably get a special exemption. But either site, both sites have their pluses and minuses.
So closer to the water tower is less likely to get or more likely.
It's more likely to get the Highlands Council exception.
You touched on the visual aspect. What does it actually look like? Are they above ground ballasted mounts?
Yes.
Are they
It's-
sunk into the ground with, foundations?
No,
What does it
dep-
actually look like?
It depends on where they go and what the land is. We need to do land studies, geotech studies, to determine what's in the ground. So in some places, there would be, in rocky areas, there would be screws and then a ballast on top of it. So, the visual aspect, only by the one on, Peters Mine Road, is that you'd be driving past, in maybe the winter time, you'd be driving past the fence, and about 10 feet, so inside of that, there'd be a solar farm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. My information is on those pages and up there. If anybody wants to contact me if you have any more questions.
That's great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to continue on the agenda, but I just want to make a comment to Peter Sando, which I made at the beginning of the meeting. All of our meetings are now up on YouTube.
I was gonna thank you for that.
All right, so,
And I encourage residents to watch the meetings, especially because there's an election coming up, and anybody who's, non-partisan, whatever, they can make an educated decision on their ballot.
so,
Appreciate that.
All right.
Good job. I hope it keeps up.
now, approval of minutes.
Okay, we have executive session from February 19th. All were present.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
We have the business meeting and executive session from March 19th. All were present.
So moved?
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay. General public portion. Anyone want to get up, have something to say? Please do, keep it to 3 minutes, and one time at the mic.
Yeah, I gotta turn the camera off anyway.
Thanks. Good evening. Linda Schaefer, 54 Lakeview Avenue. I came here tonight on behalf of the library board to relay some good news. The library has a new 3D printer. The staff applied for and received a $500 grant to purchase the printer through New Jersey's Maker's Day grant. Also, the library hosted a Maker's Day event on March 22nd and 23rd. That included virtual reality, drones, crafts, a coding contest, Legos, holograms, and many more events were done throughout the day. In total, more than 700 people visited the library on Maker's Saturday. So that was great for the Ringwood Library, good PR. And thanks to all that helped with that event. And now switching hats, the Ringwood Ambulance Auxiliary will be hosting a fish and chips this Friday on April 19th. It will be catered by Tastefully British and held at the Lakeland High School. The tickets are $15 each. Takeout is 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eat-in is 5:30 to 7 p.m. Anyone interested can call 973-962-7978. Thank you.
Hi, Paula Tedesco, 95 Upper Lakeview. I would like to inform the council and my fellow citizens of Ringwood that the Passaic County Freeholders have appointed me to serve on 2 boards, the Mental Health Board and LACADA, the Local Advisory Council for Alcoholism and Drug Abuse. I was elected as chair of the latter. These bodies play an important role in setting policies and in reviewing proposals for the funding of mental health programs for Passaic County. Rest assured that I will advocate for the needs of Upper Passaic County, where access to care is limited and public transportation is lacking. Regarding the Stigma-Free Initiative, I have already tabled at 2 events and will be at 2 more events this weekend. The individuals I've spoken to have appreciated the information, and several expressed the desire to become involved with the task force to help spread the word and to be involved with programming. And I'm hoping to see stigma-free signage around town soon. May is Mental Health Month. Look for programming in surrounding towns and counties. On May 11, another plug for the library, the Ringwood Library will be presenting a children's author who writes books about mental health issues to school-age children. Please see the library website for further details. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jennifer Shue, 205 Lakeview Avenue. I wanted to make some announcements regarding activities of the Green Team. We are ready to launch our second Green Initiative, and that will take place this coming Saturday, April 20th, at the new Weiss Center, where there will be a celebration of Earth Day. And we will be there as well with our table. And our new challenge, our second challenge, is bring your own bag. The first challenge was skip the straw. And this one, we'll be educating people on the really the damage that is done by plastic bags and encouraging them to bring their own bag whenever they go shopping. At this particular event, for those people who are willing to take the challenge, they will receive a free tote bag, and that tote bag can be decorated by their children and then given to them to reuse. This will be followed by an event on Saturday, May 4th. We'll be joining Aurelie Steinberg at her shredding event. We'll also have a table again where the Green Team will continue to challenge people to bring their own bag and refuse the straw. And finally, Saturday, May 11th, the Green Team will be attending the Passaic County Compost Bin and Rain Barrel Sale, which is going to take place at the Ringwood Public Library parking lot from 9 a.m. to 1:30. I don't know if I mentioned that at the shredding event that will take place, also in the Ringwood Park and Ride, and that is from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kate and Sarah, 47 James Drive. I have been a resident of Ringwood for all but 3 years of my life. I am here to talk about 5G. Besides compromising cybersecurity, inefficiently consuming energy, lowering property value, and being unsightly, 5G is a known health hazard. Exposure to these frequencies is linked to cancer, reproductive issues, depression, neurological, and immune system disorders. And I do have some links and references to hand out at the end. It affects all environments and living systems, including pets, wildlife, and plant life. Additionally, the developing bodies and brains of fetuses and children are more susceptible to these harmful effects. Having frequency transmitters placed every 2 to 10 homes, or even as close as every utility pole on top of pre-existing 4G cells, creates the ideal situation for disease progression. I am sure you are all aware of the speedy deployment of 5G across the country. The telecom industry is behind this rush, not users. The FCC, which is a captured agency whose chair was a Verizon lobbyist, has blocked federal and local laws from slowing down the rollout and is currently trying to gain control of public lands, our public lands, for their benefit and profit. We should not just give over our public spaces to these corporations and forfeit our right to have a voice in this matter. Orders and federal bills such as S3157 et al., which is an application to install 5G, are being sent out across the country. Has Ringwood received any of these applications from either the FCC or telecom corporations such as Verizon, AT&T, or Sprint? Do we know?
We received a few things in the last bunch of months.
Okay. As far as I know, we only have 60 days to reply to these, and silence is consent. Requesting a moratorium would slow the process down, giving us more time to educate ourselves, think, and deliberate. Is 5G something Ringwood residents really want or need? If we do not act now, we will not have the option down the line to choose if 5G comes to Ringwood or not. Allow Ringwood citizens the right to say no to these towers.
Thank you.
Peter Sando, 24 High Point Lane. I just want to follow up on my neighbor's concern there. I know that the contract that Alpoa has with Verizon prohibits any other carriers from coming on it, but if they wanted to upgrade it, would they need to come back to you and apply again, or can they just do it?
I'm not sure that I can answer that, Mr. Kamick.
We have taken the position they have to go to the Board of Adjustment. They just can't do it unilaterally. Their position is they can do it unilaterally. I don't know what the result will be, but the Board of Adjustment attorney and I and the zoning officer are the conclusion they have to go to the board. I don't know if they have yet. We just sent out, I think they're just notified a week or two ago. But their position is to the contrary.
There's another can of worms, and
Yes.
you allow something like that into a residential area, you know? I'm very concerned about that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Alan Fidelli. I want to thank you for the opportunity to address the council. Cupso Lake requests the Borough Council to apply for a Highland grant on behalf of the lake based on the scope of work we've done with Princeton Hydro. The work includes planning and testing in-lake as well as inlets, all within the eligibility for a Highland grant. We offered to do a 3-lake grant, but Erskine and Skyline are not quite ready to participate and apply. The borough staff met with the Highlands Council team and decided that they would rather do a town-wide watershed grant application. I believe that's one of the considerations. This is a good idea, but not something that we'd expect to happen soon. And according to the Highland Council, there is no reason that Ringwood couldn't apply for multiple grants. For instance, one, Cupso Lake Planning and Testing Grant, which is ready now. Erskine and Skyline grants, when they're ready. and a town-wide watershed management grant when ready. These grants are $50,000, by the way. GUPSO has already completed the requisite lake survey and scope of work. We are just asking the borough to submit the application since it must come from a town or county entity. We understand that the town will have to set up accounts as the money flows in from the Highlands with the completion of each stage, but that is all we're asking the town to do. We ask for a resolution tonight from the Borough Council that they will submit our CUPSO grant application to the Highlands Council without delay. Can we call for a vote on that, please?
We don't have any of the details. Did you give that to Kathy when you met with her?
We talked about that. I've shown, she has all of our documentation, yeah. But
Okay.
all we're saying is that's the documentation that Kerry Green says she needs in order to move forward on either making the grant or saying nay. Just the scope of work and the survey, and we've got that done.
Yeah, we'll probably like to make a movement to do a resolution for this grant for CUPSAW. I know that it's well needed, and why leave the money sitting on the table?
Very supportive. I don't know if we do that now or if we take it up
Well,
later.
is there a grant proposal written up?
Yes, we talked with Kerry Green last night. Everything we've got is sufficient as a scope of work to start the grant process. So I mean, CUPSO's interest in it is we'd like to have this in time to affect this season and get the results this season. Because a lot of the work that we're doing is testing and planning, but it also affects our aeration system and the evaluation of the aeration system. It also tests our inlets to help us know which inlets are giving us the worst problems, and also tests to make sure that we're not releasing phosphorus from the base. Up until now, we haven't had the kind of science that we would get from this to keep our lake safe, and as you know, we had a closure at the end of last year. So in the interest of our community, in the interest of keeping the lake safe and not being closed, we'd like to go forward with this grant and do it with haste. So I would like to make it a vote. If people are not sure they have enough information, they could abstain, I suppose, but I would really like the support of the board.
I think I'd like to read the documents that you have before you so that I could make a recommendation and meet with Kathy to see what exactly we're including, what we're voting on this evening. I haven't seen any of those documents, but my recommendation would be that I do think we should try and help the lake communities, and they did have a closure next year. This program wouldn't really help this year in terms of, but it would give you information this year. And I think one of the things that the health officer and I have talked about is we do need to try and figure out where some of this inflow is coming from. But I would probably stop short of making a resolution this evening to vote on a document that we haven't seen yet. I think the council has long-standing policy of looking at the documents before they actually.
With all due respect, according to Princeton Hydro, who's worked with us, the benefit is this year. It's a this year benefit. Number one, what they're going to do is they're going to provide feedback to our providers of service, our lake applicators who put in copper sulfate and herbicides. And it's going to temper the way that the timing of that, because they're going to be dealing with more science as a result of the testing. They're also going to evaluate our aeration system to make sure that the aeration system is giving full benefit and is not hurting us. So up until now, we've used the same treatment company that all the other lakes use, Erskine and Skyline. But that treatment company does not test to the extent that we're getting. So we're going to get immediate benefit this year if we go with this.
I think all I'm suggesting is that we read that document before we vote on it, is all I'm suggesting. We don't have it. We don't physically have the document, so.
This is the third time, though, that CUPSA has come before this council to make this request, and I think that we were up in West Milford yesterday meeting with Kerry Green, Alan and I, and they did urge us to move forward with it quickly because the lakes will be opening. Water quality it's urgent, what they're looking for, and I don't see any problem with passing a resolution tonight since it has been looked at by the Highlands Council, by Kerry Green, by CUPSA Lake, by Erskine Lake, by Skyline Lake. It was voted unanimously by the lake communities initially to pursue this. And I know that CUPSA is willing to share all of this information with all of the other lakes, and it will also give you the information you need when you do your larger study. Kerry said that would be beneficial,
Yeah.
right?
And we're really asking for permission to go forward and ask for money. We're not asking
Yeah.
permission to buy, to
This
spend
is
money. We're asking for
basically-
permission to go forward and ask for money.
I'm just suggesting that if we have, that's a pretty lengthy document there, if you have a document, just give it to us, let's take a look at it. they can give me authorization to move forward, but I would love to see the
I-
document before we
Yeah,
actually vote on it.
In all due respect, I would like to call for a vote of the council, please.
Well, that's up to them, I don't have any say.
I will make a movement to do that.
And I would,
How can we vote on something we haven't seen?
This
We
was
haven't
sent
seen
by
it.
email to
In our
the
hands,
Board
we
of
haven't
Health.
seen it.
It's going to be approved by the Highlands Council, not by this council.
You say so.
We're just submitting it to the Highlands Council. They will determine whether or not we get the grant. All we're doing is giving Cupsaw the tools they need to move forward and to
Now,
access
that
the
I understand,
information.
I totally understand that, but we haven't seen the documents. How do we vote on something we haven't seen physically?
We're not
here?
scientists. The Highlands Council are scientists, and they are
Okay.
going to review this to make sure it's comprehensive and to deliver the money if it is. If it isn't, they won't deliver it.
just to clarify, because I'm losing a thread or two here. Is a grant proposal actually written, or you have the requirements for a grant proposal that is gonna then go to Kerry and be written?
We have the scope of service, which is all Kerry needs to go forward. We did a survey, and we got the scope of service. She even looked at it, and she said that's adequate. So all we're asking to pass it on to see if she'll then have the Highlands Council grant us the money.
Okay.
To be clear, I'm not against the grant or the
Good.
science or anything.
All right.
I'm the only person in the room that lives lakefront at Cupsaw Lake, as far as I can see. So I would benefit more directly than anybody.
Right.
I just want to see something before I vote on it. I want to be able to read it.
Alan, can you give him a copy?
Yeah, sir, is that the document that you want us to approve today?
No, we just need a
I just want
resolution
permission.
and give them time, that would give the
Approving
council
what?
time.
I'm sorry,
A
Kathy, approving what?
resolution to support an application from Cupsaw Lake for a lake management grant from the Highlands Council. That's all we're doing, is a resolution to approve a application by the Cupsaw Lake Association to go for a lake management grant from the Highlands
Like
Council.
approve an application? I mean, or to have
Well,
somebody
they
else
have
approve
to submit the application on behalf of the lake. It cannot be done without the support of the
Yes.
municipality. So all we're doing is lending our support to Alan's request
All right,
for
is
a
that the
grant.
document, sir, that we would?
Yes,
Can I
yeah.
see it, if you don't mind? I want to know the exact title of what we're talking about.
I have the Highlands grant here, if you want to take a look at it
Well, This
also.
is the exact document, isn't it?
That is
This is
basically
the scope of work.
Oh, whatever
the
it is,
work
scope of
that
work,
we're
yes.
asking for.
This is the thing that you would want us to move on, is that correct?
That's what the Highlands would move
I
on.
mean, okay.
What you're actually doing is you're not supporting CLIA submitting an application. The Borough of Ringwood is submitting an application with that
For
work
lake
scope
management.
for lake management for Cupsaw. And I'm not sure what else it's in there. You also talked about some inlets and some other
This is
things.
Cupsaw, but even all the inlets are just inlets within Cupsaw. In other words, we're right where the water comes in. So we go no further than just our own lake.
And so you're actually, what you're doing is you're applying yourselves for this grant. And I just think that we should read it, that's all. That's just my suggestion.
The grant that we're applying for is the Lake Management Planning, which identifies water quality, quantity issues affecting lakes, and develop long and short-term strategies to protect, restore, and enhance lake aquatic resources to support lake ecosystems, wildlife, and human recreation use. And given that we were shut down last year at Cupsaw, Sean knows that, he lives on the lake. We don't want to see that reoccur, so there is a sense of urgency. It's going to be May, Memorial Day is coming up. The sooner we put the application in, the sooner we get the science to help the Lake Association handle these difficulties.
Can I see your document?
You certainly may.
Thank you. Sir, this is a proposal, I mean, a contract with an engineering firm to provide
Yes,
various
that's correct.
services.
That's
Right.
correct.
Okay.
That's what Terry
Yes.
had recommended that we
Yes,
get,
that's what Terry
because they're
recommended,
the
yeah.
ones who do it.
And these are the top scientists in the state. Something we've been missing from our management of lake ecology.
Yeah. The lakes
And-
have been struggling with this for years.
And the grant would be used to pay for those services?
Yes.
Right.
But the town's got to submit the grant.
It has to go through the town submits it, but it's written up by the association.
I mean, in whatever we do, the language of the resolution, I would like it crafted such that we keep an open offer to do the same for the other lake communities, if and when they come to the point where they would want
The town's got to
that.
pay the contractors.
And the money will be given by the Highlands Council to be given to the contractor, and the contractor will not ask for payment until the money is received from the Highlands Council. That's how it works.
As administered through the borough.
I thought we couldn't authorize the work until we said we had the money on the side.
I didn't notice that in that contract.
No, listen,
That is part of the
that's
Highlands,
not
how they
part of-
operate.
That's not part of the public contract law. We can't do that. We have to certify that funds are available for the payment of any bill in advance. Before we can sign the contract, we have to certify the funds are available. It's on every one of your bill lists.
But right now, we're not signing any
But-
contracts, we're just submitting an application for a grant.
Right.
I understand, but to receive the actual grant, we have to have certified funds. Now, is that an estimate from somebody that you received to do this work?
An estimate to do all the work that is eligible for the Highlands grant, yes.
But since it's 50,000, how much is the?
$25,000.
So we would have to actually go out to bid for that. We couldn't use that, because we have
We would
bidding
get, we would
laws.
get, we would get 3 bids.
No,
We
yeah,
would
but-
get 2 additional bids on that. We've already got one of them, so we would just get an additional.
Yeah, but we, unfortunately, we have bidding rules and stuff that we would have to follow. We couldn't just get estimates. We have, there's pay-to-play rules, there's all kinds of
Yeah.
things that we have to follow for
I think
actual
the 3
contract.
bids are required according to the town requirements when you're putting a contract out. It's not required to have 3 bids when you're asking for money for a grant.
Right.
So this is just to support the dollar
Yeah.
amount of the grant?
yes.
And then before actually beginning any study, we would have the 3 bids from
Exactly.
the other people?
If you're spending that dollar amount, you would have to actually go out for a bid. You would have to actually publish a bid, we couldn't use that document. We would have to actually publish it, receive bids, and.
I'm sorry, I
before we-
forgot to introduce Peter Martin is the president of Tupsail Lake Improvement Association.
Oh. Hi, Peter.
And Peter's met with our entire board, and we've reviewed this contract at length. I don't think you made that meeting. And we've gone through this thoroughly and followed up with Princeton Hydro afterwards. So Peter's here to support this request.
What is your absolute deadline, sir?
Sorry?
What is your absolute deadline to get something in?
Yeah, my deadline passed. Unfortunately, when I came to the board a month ago and asked for this, then I had an interruption because I got a hip replacement in between. So I lost a couple of days for that. And so I'm back 3 weeks after my hip replacement. We're already starting to treat. We've already turned on our aeration system. The herbicide is going in. We need these people to control that process. So yeah, we're every day we perceive we're losing time in affecting this year. So we're behind schedule.
Well, I would entertain a resolution giving Scott the authority, provided he's got all the information he needs to move forward with the grant.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Was there a second to that?
I'll
Second.
that.
Well, no,
Yeah.
you guys, this is actually an amendment.
Okay.
I'm being very parliamentary here. This is an amendment to a pending motion,
Okay.
okay, that Scott will have to have the authority to approve and amend,
Based on
et cetera, et
information.
cetera. Is there a second to Jim's motion?
I'll second that.
You can't, you made
Well,
the initial.
can you explain that again? So if I made a movement to do a resolution to support a grant, an application for this grant for lake management, that wouldn't need Scott's approval, would it? Or does it?
No, you made the motion, there was a second.
There
But
was
then there
a
was a
second.
motion to amend what you just offered.
And what does that amendment do?
It says that it would be subject to Scott's review. But you said support the grant, and it was
The
said, yes, support the
application.
grant application, subject to Scott's review for completion, thoroughness, et cetera. That is the motion, which doesn't have a second.
I just want to make sure it goes
Yeah.
through. If that's going to put any kind of limit on this moving quickly, as Alan
Well,
said, he's
you
already
know what I would
behind.
like to, I mean, I think it might not be a bad idea. The authority would be here to do it, to get it going.
To get it going.
I'd like to sit down and review documents too, to know exactly what it is, which
Okay.
I normally do. And, if people can meet in the next few days, we can. do
Great,
it.
as
Yeah.
long as it's in the next few
Yeah.
days.
Well,
I just
there may be a
don't
little
want to
delay, but-
delay.
And
Yeah,
Yeah,
Scott can talk
Yeah.
and carry.
Yeah.
right. We met with
Because-
Kerry last night. and we
Yeah,
don't
but
need it
but the
all.
problem is we have this document that we haven't read that we're committing to, so.
Yeah.
Well, we're
I-
not committing to that document because that hasn't even,
No, it's the Highlands grant we're committing to.
we are, and
That-
you
that-
know
that
what?
there is just a-
These Highlands
that's a
grants have been
proposal.
available since 2009, and I think it's a shame that the lakes haven't been aware of it and haven't been able to apply for them on a yearly basis. We're 10 years waiting for this. We were up in West Milford yesterday. They already have the grants. They're already utilizing these grants. And I feel like we're way behind. So I really want to get this process started. That's my only
Okay,
concern. The sooner the better.
The mayor's point is to amend your motion to make it subject to Scott's review.
Okay.
That's, and I don't know if there's.
It's fine.
a
Are
I'll
you okay
second
with
the
that,
amendment.
Alan?
That's, I'm okay.
I'll second
Okay.
the amendment.
Well, then we vote on the amendment first. Roll call on the amendment.
And that's the one the mayor did.
No, yes, right.
Okay, so Mayor Martucci,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan,
Abstain.
Council members Bolton,
Yes.
Davison,
Yes.
Ferretti,
Yes.
O'Keefe,
Yes.
Spear.
No.
Okay, now vote on the main motion as amended. Sorry to be so abrupt, folks.
No, we appreciate your
Yes, would
guidance.
you call the, would you call the motion, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Martucci,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan,
Abstain.
Council members Bolton,
Yes.
Davison,
Yes.
Ferretti,
Yes.
O'Keefe,
Yes.
Spear.
No.
It's good to be parliamentary.
Good.
So,
So,
for all of the council's perspective, while I agree with the whole philosophy, I'm gonna have it looked at for legal, finance, and work scope, and that's it. If you can get me that document, I can do that very quickly, but without the document, I can't really do much.
so I have a resolution 99 and 100, so it's two separate.
Yes, the amendment is 99 and the main motion is 100.
That's a very interesting word.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I had another topic I was going to discuss, but in the interest of mine being exhausted, I'm going to defer that to a future thing. That was a septic pumping ordinance thing, but I think it's enough for today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan, for the reprieve.
Anyone else?
Good evening. Mike Einrenhoff, 42 Woodland Road. I'm a member of the EDC, and we have been meeting with, I've had two conversations this month with Michael Lizacatos from the Passaic County Department of Planning and Economic Development about the Highlands Rail Trail progress. The rail trail is going around from Westbrook Road. It would go from Westbrook to the Monksville Dam in the Ringwood section. And what he said basically is that the new executive director at the Water Commission, who owns all of the property, is much more receptive to the rail trail than his predecessor. They are also concerned with security issues, but Mr. Lizacatos' team pushed back that more eyes on the property would actually be safer by having people biking and walking on it than having no one right now. The first leg of the Wanacue portion is in its final phase right now of planning, and most of this land is owned by the Water Commission as well, who also owns Ringwood. The Wanacue portion is being paved, but the Ringwood portion would probably remain a dirt path for several reasons. It would be too difficult to pave, especially the earthen causeways in the Ringwood section. They wouldn't be able to get paving equipment out there. It would be more expensive, and if grant money is used, then the path would have to be ADA accessible. The Water Commission is concerned with lawsuits and will need to use an agreement arrangement similar to what hiking trails fall under to avoid litigation. This is another reason to keep the Ringwood portion a dirt path. They're excited to have it meet up with the Morris Canal portion and could eventually have create a bike path that would go from Bear Mountain or Bear Mountain up in New York to Hoboken. You'd be able to go through the Morris Canal as well. And we would be, with Ringwood, right in the center of it. They're looking at the DNR Canal in Middlesex County as a great example. And with all of this tourism push, there's a 5-town push that they're doing, that the Passaic County Department of Planning is interested in. Pushing for hotels in the Highlands region is being discussed, the 5-town around us region. In the next few weeks, they will be submitting to the DEP and the Highlands Council for permits for Phase 1 in Wanacue. Phase 2 before the summer, and then start discussing Ringwood, the Ringwood phases, shortly after that, sometime in the summer. Mr. Lizacatos liked the idea of having the council, the EDC, and the Chamber of Commerce write letters to the Water Commission expressing the town's enthusiasm, and he would like to deliver them in a few months when they begin discussing the Ringwood phases. So we will be talking that over with the EDC. He's excited about the Ringwood phases, and he thinks that it really would attract visitors from the whole region and even enthusiasts nationally, and it could be a big help to local businesses as well. And I will be reaching out to him next in early May. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Seeing no one else, move to close.
Second?
Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
We need these open space and farmland and stuff. This New Jersey needs historic stuff. Passaic County needs open space 100%, and the historic society and the farmland and the Board of Education.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay.
Given the public portion that we just went through, is it possible to do two other resolutions? One on a moratorium for our neighbor on James Drive regarding the 5G, that we put that moratorium on, since Scott has already received letters or requests, and there's a 60-day window from what I understand?
I'm not 100% sure that I received the same thing. I did see some kind of communication from the cable company, which I forwarded to the attorneys.
Right, but the
I don't know that it's exactly
recommendation-
that, but I'm going to read this document and get back to you.
Okay, so is that something we could wait
You could still,
without?
I don't know. I'm going to look tomorrow and make sure of what it actually was.
I would like to move on a
We got
moratorium on that.
I mean, there was, as I explained, there was a request. It was very technical. I'm not sure if 5G was part of it, but someone knowledgeable will have to look at it. But as I said, the utility took the position that they didn't need our consent. We obviously took another position, and we'll see where that goes.
But is there, have we responded then, so we met that 60-day limit?
I'm not, no, that has nothing to do with 60 days. We had 15 days under a lease to respond, under the
Okay.
Erskine lease. So that's what our attention was directed at.
All right, I just
knew
want to
nothing
make
about
sure
the
that
60
we're not
days.
opening ourselves up to this 5G if we haven't
know.
had the chance to study it. The other thing is, I would like to move that we do, as a council, submit this letter to Mike Lizick, I'm sorry, that name, Lizikos, at Passaic County, telling him that we are enthusiastically looking forward to the trail to bike path through the reservoir property.
We got time? When are you gonna start the, when did you say?
In May?
He'll be getting to Ringwood in the summer, so yes, we have another meeting.
Okay, so maybe for the next meeting, we can have
Yeah.
that resolution?
I haven't gone to those meetings a lot, Kathy. I'll draft something and get it to all you guys to look
Okay,
at.
fantastic, thank you.
Could we, I don't know if it would be appropriate, but maybe we could get a presentation on what it means for the
Oh, that
community?
would be great, yeah.
Particularly because it's the first I'm hearing about a hotel's push portion for it, so it would be good to understand their vision, implications.
So maybe we can invite them to the next meeting?
Yeah, I would like more details.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. Old business.
Mr. Mayor, you have an ordinance for final reading and public hearing, ordinance 2019-03. If I could have a motion to read by title, please.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
An ordinance amending Chapter 18, Water and Sewer, the revised ordinance of the Borough of Ringwood, Section 18-9, charges for water service, water consumption rates. Mr. Mayor, the matter can be open to the public comment.
Okay.
Would you like me to give you, Mayor, a brief overview?
Sure.
Last month, we introduced the water rate increases for our water utility, and the differences from last billing cycle to this would be Quantity 0 to 5,000 gallons would be $41.12 now. It used to be $38.58. 5,001 to 10,000 it will be now $73.77. Previously, it was $69.21. Over 10,000, it will be now $7.37 per 1,000 gallons. It was $6.92 before. We're changing the size of, for replacing of meters, 3/4 inch is now $82.17. It used to be $77.09. 1 inch, $91.60 now. It used to be $85.93. When 2 inch would be $108.63, where it was $101.91. And 2 inch is now $139.69, and it was $131.05.
Mr. Heck, when was the last time we raised these rates?
We raised them last year. We raised them the last couple of years. We're still well below all the communities around us. We've done a lot of investing in the infrastructure, and obviously last year we suffered, as we're tightening the water system up in Old Lorraine, we had certainly income problems from last year. So we did revisit them last year, and the Finance Committee decided that we should be increasing them instead of every other year. We should be increasing them a little bit each year, and so that's what we followed through on, based upon the recommendation.
Because we did it last year, but I don't think the year prior to that.
No, we were increasing them every other year for quite some time.
Okay, anyone wishing to get up, ask any questions?
Paula Tedesco. So what is the actual pass-along dollar amount per household?
Would depend upon how much they use. So those were the gallonages that I read, from 0 to 5,000 gallons. It is now $41.21, where it used to be $38.57.
So a few dollars?
A few dollars per gallonage in that category.
I'm going to shower with a friend.
What's that?
What was the old numbers?
Anyone else? Taking a motion?
Motion to close public?
Second.
Roll call? Sorry.
Roll call.
Who was the motion? I'm sorry.
Myself?
Okay. Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do a resolution. Okay, resolved that ordinance 2019-03 as read by title being is hereby adopted, and the municipal clerk is hereby directed to publish notice of passage of same in the official newspaper of the municipality. Could be a
So,
motion and a second.
so moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, the next ordinance is for introduction. Has to do with the budget. It's ordinance 2019-04. If I could have a motion to read by title, please.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
I thought we had this at one of
Mayor, this is an ordinance that they introduce every year, establishing any cap budget for anything over and above. In case you were to apply for it, in case you had something extraordinary that came up, you could apply to this fictitious bank. It's not real money. It's a dollar amount by which you can put aside, because you can go higher than you are relative to the tax increases. And what you can do is you can space bank that money for a 2-year period if in fact you need it for something down the road. The auditors always recommend you pass it in case you have it, because it carries for 2 years, and after 2 years it washes away. So moving forward, I've never, in the years I've been here, we've never applied for this, but this is an ordinance that we do every year when we introduce the budgets.
I'll recite a resolution. There could be a motion and a second. Any discussion? Remember, there will not be a public hearing on this evening. Ordinance 2019-04, calendar year 2019. Resolved that the aforesaid ordinance as described to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank in accordance with NJSA 48:4-45.14 is hereby introduced, with the public hearing to be held at 7:30 p.m. on May 21, 2019 at the municipal building, and the Borough Clerk is directed to publish a copy of the ordinance in the official newspaper of the municipality.
Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay. Resolutions.
Excuse me, Mayor. Resolution 2019-92, whereas the Chief Financial Officer has certified the funds are available for the payment of the current bill list in the amount of $259,062.55, and the supplemental payments in the amount of $3,429,635.85, and merchant services fees in the amount to be credited. I think the merchant services fees are $117.49. Be listed to the following accounts for a total of $3,688,815.89.
Usually we get a summary list.
What's that?
Usually we get a summary list.
Summary list is in the back, you're talking about? The bill list is attached, Mayor.
No, what's going to the Board of Education, say county?
They were on the bill list last month. Do we have any Board of Education this month, Nicole?
I'm not sure, I'm prepared for this to be.
They were paid last month. I could check. If you want to hold the bill list up, you can do it in the next meeting. We'll pay the portion of the bills, the current bill list. Supplemental payments are for, you can take that into consideration separately if you want to.
I'll look at this.
Looks like she does not have it in here. So just hold that section off. The supplemental payments was probably emailed to you, but it's not in actually your book, so you want to revise the resolution? Or hold this off to next month?
Do you have any bills that have to be paid, have any deadlines, construction bills or anything, Scott?
Well, all the bills have deadlines,
I know,
but
but
I
I mean,
think we can hold
be
it off.
subject to penalty.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can hold it up to the
All
next
right.
month.
Is there, so if we couldn't move, assuming that there was a payment for school, we couldn't move that until the next meeting anyway?
We would make the school payments and the county payments we make anyway, so wire transfers, if in fact they're in there. So I will, I'll have her resend it via email in here. It looks like it's not in this particular packet. I'll have her email it, and if there's an issue, we can always get together and vote on it.
Okay.
I'd rather, it's not in this particular packet for some reason, so maybe she had a copy of the issue, I don't know, but we'll find out and we'll get it to you.
So we can move the current bills.
Right, I guess that's what I'm missing, is why we would hold these. or
Yeah, that's
if
why
there
I
was
said we
benefit
can,
to it.
we can move the current bill list, and with the supplemental bill list, we'll just hold on.
So moved on the current bill list.
Correct.
Second. Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Next resolution, 1993, is a resolution, they've merged with another company, so Professional Insurance Associates, Inc., and PIA Security Programs, Inc., in accordance with the public contractor for insurance. Mr. Klimek, do you want to explain this? This is just
This is a merger. and
This is a
they're-
merger
they're
of the insurance
taking over the
companies.
obligations of the original contracting party. That's it simply put, okay? All right?
all the same people in the insurance
Yes.
company.
It's just-
The
it's just a
gentleman that
merger
you
with
spoke
the
to this
same-
evening that did our
right.
training and went out of the back,
Yeah.
They're operating as an independent division.
Yeah, they merged with another company and there's a new name. That's resolution
So
2000.
the nuts and bolts of it aren't changing. it's just-
Correct.
Gotcha. So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Thank you, I was a
Well,
little confused why we met with Frank before.
No, he's still with the company, it's just they were bought out.
Okay, makes sense.
Resolution 2019-94, whereas the maintenance bond for D.R. Mullen Construction Company has been previously posted for Cupso Drive Improvement Project Phases 6 and 7, contract number 2017-2, and whereas D.R. Mullen Construction Company is hereby requesting the release of the bond, $8,112.54, Whereas work has been completed in a satisfactory condition and the borough engineer has recommended the release of the said bond, now therefore be it resolved that the finance department is authorized to release the cash maintenance bond to D.R. Mullen Construction Company after May 15th, 2019.
Motion?
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
That's all the resolutions, Mayor.
Okay. Consent agenda?
Which I can do consent. The consent agenda resolution 2019-95, whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Ringwood has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of the various proposed resolutions. 2019-95 is the approval of the actual consent agenda. 2019-96, authorized redemption tax sales certificate various. 2019-97, authorized municipal lien redemption various. 2019-98, approval of the payroll and payroll transfers for March. Now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved.
I'll move it.
Second?
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay.
Mayor, in the absence of a report, I sent you folks, because I wasn't here at the end of last week due to a wedding, so I'm happy to report that that all went well. But I sent you folks a lot of letters and correspondence and whatnot. I'm just going to talk through a few of those items at this point. This evening, there was a request for us to list the grants, which is not a simple task, but we went through all the budgets and we listed all the grants that we've applied for, and I distributed that to all the council members so that you can see the grants from 2008 through 2019 that are on this list. Now, this is not necessarily an exhaustive list. We have to go through the budgets to get some of these older stuff, but it's a pretty good handle of the grants that we've applied for and have received over that time period.
Is this a listing?
Pardon me?
I'm talking.
Okay. Cap Solar, I sent you a letter. They basically talked about it tonight, that they're not necessarily looking at the same properties that they were originally looking at. He talked about that, so I'm just going to skip that letter. I sent you the breakdown that you folks were looking for relative to how many of our children use the courtesy busing that we pay for out of municipal funds. So she sent some of the runs and what children are on what respective buses. And that was your request, so you have that information for you. We received a letter from the Ringwood CAG, which I distributed to you. I think you may have gotten that twice. You got one from Helen, and just in case you got another one today. That came on March 21st, so you might have to look backwards for that for a little bit. We talked about earlier this year that I had asked Jeff to do some estimates to apply for a Passaic County grant for the bridge across the brook right there by Dr. K's building. I included his estimate for construction for a bridge that is 100% compliant with ADA and whatnot. I believe we could probably pare this down a little bit, but I would like authorization to apply for the Passaic County grant, which is now extended to the end of this month for the bridge going across that brook, so that we can continue with our bikeways either up Skyline Drive or connecting to whatever they might be. This is kind of a pinch point, because at this point in Skyline Drive, there's no shoulder on that culvert, on that bridge, and there's nowhere for anybody to go, and to send somebody into the lane of traffic does not make a whole lot of sense. So, as you can see, his estimates his estimated construction cost is $667,000. If we were to do a fully compliant ADHD bridge, I think that there's ways we can cut, but this is something that we would like to submit.
Would you like a resolution? Because I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think you have.
So
a-
moved.
Second.
Hold on a second, what number will that be?
101.
Okay.
And Scott, did you say at at that light, the crossing by St. Catherine's, that there could be something put in there for people coming from the Cupso Erskine area that are looking to get, maybe some kids on bikes trying to get to the library?
There's a
or
provision there for actually a crosswalk.
Crosswalk and
It-
a light for them to cross?
Well, they'll put
A
in the
pedestrian?
stanchions and what, all the technology or the construction improvements are there, they haven't actually made them active.
Okay.
So, yeah, it is,
So
it
there
was built
wouldn't be
in.
an added cost, it would
No.
just be activated?
There would be minor added costs, because we'd have to put stanchions on both sides. and
Should we
whatnot.
include those costs in this?
He may have
or-
included some of that already.
Okay.
I'll ask Jeff, but,
Would that be maintenance and protection of traffic?
I'll ask Jeff, but I know that when we did the designing of that traffic light, we allowed for a crosswalk
Pedestrian
at that
crossing.
point.
Okay, good.
I mean, if there's anything supplemental beyond this that would be helpful to put into the grant application, I think that would also be great, and we should encourage you to do that.
Yeah, I'm not asking you for the specific dollar amount, I'm really more asking to apply for it.
For the
I'd like,
grant.
we did this back in February 20th, I'd like him to review those numbers again to make sure that they're all good and scrub them. But I wanted you to have a scope of, and this is a pretty long, it's a bridge and then there's a long, we have to fill in some areas there, we have to put some walls in, you know, so that you have to have the approaches on, the approach coming in and out filled in as well. So, I'll have him look at those numbers and we will, just revise them if necessary.
Okay, so we get a motion?
I think
I have a
And,
motion and a second.
Motion and a
Roll
second.
call.
We'll get a roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Council members Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
I had met with Deborah Huffman quite some time ago about the community block development grant. We've participated with the state program. There's also a county program that you have to participate with one or the other. I know that it was somewhat controversial the last time it was up, so I sent you guys all the resolution, or actually Nicole did. And I would suggest that if in fact you would like to participate in this, we can have Deborah Huffman come to the next meeting and talk about it. But I do think that because it was controversial, you should probably list it for an agenda item so that the folks that maybe were so emphatic about it last time at least have the opportunity to express their thoughts. And but I think there's a lot of great programs that some of the people in the community could benefit from if in fact we were participants of this program. So there's some pros and cons to it, so I sent it to all of you guys for your review.
Right.
So that you can talk about it and ask if we want Deborah Hoffman to come and talk about it at a council meeting.
Is Deborah the right person to speak to the pros or cons of county versus state program? I wasn't aware. if there
I
was
would
one or
not
the other.
encourage us to go to the state program. I would encourage us, if we're going to do it, to go with the county program. I've had experience with both, and I think that when I talked to Deborah about it a month or two ago when I went down to meet with them, they're very aware of some of the concerns that people have, and I think that she would probably be appropriate to address those concerns.
And what were the concerns that people had?
Yeah, I don't remember specifically, John, but I think they were relative to losing some of our rights for zoning and so forth. But
Yeah, that was the general concern.
that was the general consensus. So, you know, I think that if you'd like me to list this for our next meeting, I would do that. So,
I would personally like to. I'd like to learn more and hear what our residents might be able to take advantage of. I'd heard from a local nursery program that some, I don't know if you call them participants of a nursery program, had wanted to take advantage of certain things and weren't able to because the community was not a part of the block, if you will. So I'd like to understand what it's all about.
we went away from the county when we used some of the funding for Upper Ringwood. We went with the state program a while ago. And so, Mayor, if you'd like, I will invite Deborah Hoffman to come to the next meeting and go through the program. I also sent you a lot of correspondence. I'll just summarize it. I'm not going to read all these letters. And again, I did this in the efficiency of, I was leaving town for a couple days. I sent a letter to the county engineer about the condition of Greenwood Lake Turnpike, and look for some resolution to that. It's really in deplorable shape, and he responded to me, he's working with the state to try and come up with a program. I told him I was very concerned about bicyclists and motorcyclists because they've got a lot of gravel on the road, and it's that time of the year, and so they're working on it. They believe that the state is participating with them because of the process they used was the state process, so there's some dispute between the state and the county. And I also talked to Mr. DeNova, and he said he's anxious to get it taken care of. So I just sent him a letter reminding him of that, asking for some relief.
Is there any question that they're gonna grind up the existing section and fix it somehow?
They told me that they were going to, as a temporary measure, they were gonna mill big sections. And I said, you're gonna mill like curb to curb. Don't spot mill. Let's do the whole curb to curb, and then let's put the lines back in, and then you can decide whether you're gonna put the friction service back on again or not.
So at least it'll be uniform. Might be rough, but it'll be uniform.
Well, it'll be uniform, except that it might be 300 feet and then not for 200 feet, and I think ultimately what's gonna happen is they're either going to mill the whole thing, and then they're gonna put the service back on it again, or I don't know. Alls I know is it's somewhat problematic the way it is
So
now.
if there's no question that they're gonna mill it, why don't they just mill it now? So the pothole effect is
I think there's
negated.
I don't know. I think there's some question as to whether it's state responsibility or the county responsibility, and I'm happy to hear that the county administrator is saying, hey, listen, if we have to take matters into our own hands and mill it and sue the state, we will. He's been pretty responsive, so, but I feel obligated to remind him that we need to get that taken care of, so.
When they mill, particularly if it's gonna be spotty, like sections, will they do I don't know if you actually call it a ramp, but a plate so that it's less abrupt? Because I know sometimes when you mill, you get like a couple inch like.
No, it'll be a pretty smooth transition, and I asked them to do the fog line, which they're gonna do, so it's not gonna be like it's milled in a 4-foot section here, and,
Oh, I was even thinking just.
You're talking the
300
transition from
feet
the
and
milled
then
section to the unmilled
And
section.
then back and forth, particularly if.
No,
you've got
they did a pretty
chunks
good job
issues.
of.
Considering I drive 20, 30, 40,000 miles a year in the state of New Jersey, you're not gonna get a smooth transition. Okay? You're just not gonna do a smooth
Fair enough.
transition, no matter where you
It'll be-
go.
Have to ask.
I was all the way to Princeton the other day, I was down to Flemington the other day, and wherever you go, you don't get a smooth transition.
It'll be 1,000% better than what it is.
Yeah,
Also agree.
at least it's
What else you
uniform. I
got,
mean, they
Scott?
tried it with on Skyline Drive on the one section up by our water tank where they milled it to try to increase the grip from the black ice issues and stuff we had.
Right.
The next two letters are the same essential letter. They're the letters that I'm writing to follow up on my February 7th letter regarding the weight limit on Stonetown Road. As you folks remember, I have to, because we're applying to the DOT for a 10-ton commercial weight restriction for the entire length of Stonetown Road, we had to get a resolution from the county and a resolution from Wanacue because it affects their roads. So I would just sent both Wanacue and Passaic County a letter reminding them that, and sent another copy of the proposed resolution to them so that we can get that resolution, so that we can move it forward and apply it to the DOT to get the weight restriction put on.
In addition to the weight restriction, do we have the option to enact a local truck route policy within the borough?
This is actually what that is.
Okay, it would fall under truck routing.
Yeah,
Do we have one already in existence that we're adding this to?
No,
or is
truck
this
routes
the
are-
creation of one?
This is controlled by DOT. We can't send trucks X amount of miles out of their way without DOT approval. There's a lot of rules about that. So no, we don't have a local truck routes. We're not allowed to do that. That's the DOT's function. So that's why we need them to give us these two resolutions so we can submit the actual resolutions. And I think Jeff, now that spring is here, is started to, we have to go around the clock counting trucks, and we have to, there's gonna be some costs associated with labor. But once we get these resolutions, we'll move forward with that. So we do that in-house. I sent a letter to the commissioner of the DEP relative to the Bordell House next door. We've sent multiple letters in the past. We're very concerned about the condition of the building, and it needs to be torn down, and the building inspector has condemned it quite some time ago, but the state's not really quick to act. I actually, when I talked to him last, I said, listen, if you won't take it down, give us the permission to take it down, because A, it's an eyesore. The rest of the building fell in about a month ago. Our children walk by that when they go into the ball fields. the building has to come down. So, so we'll see. I also sent it to all of the legislators in our district to see if they could also participate.
I would assume it's, I don't disagree that it's in terrible condition. They're not hesitating or going slow because it's of any kind of historical significance, or they were going to repair it.
Yeah, they're not gonna repair it, and I think any historical value that the building had probably is long, long gone. We have a lot of records in there. There's a safe in the back that we used to use for our records, so when we do tear it down, we have some records retention issues that we have to have a company come in and try and save and restore, and we can't even get to those records because the floor fell out.
Oh, wow.
So it's just unsafe, and so we've been trying, you know, Kelly tried 3 or 4 years before she left. So, but it's at a point now where if you got animals running in and out of it, it's gotta be taken care of. So, Eric Payne from the state park is fully supportive of us getting that taken care of as well, so. The county asked us for a priority list.
Sorry, quick question.
Yes.
If we take it down, where does that money come from?
We would have to pay for it. Now, could we get it back from the state? Maybe. But I think it's at the point now where, before somebody gets hurt, something needs to happen. It's not a huge cost to take it down. Most of it is down. The carting away is probably the biggest cost for that. But if they're not gonna do it, we can't leave it like that.
Oh, no, totally agree. It's very unsafe.
It's really a safety issue at this point.
Is there any asbestos or anything like that in that building that we'd have to be concerned about with carting away?
I would have to, we would have to have somebody look at it, but I doubt it because it's so old. So, I don't.
Before we have asbestos.
I don't know. Somebody that's more knowledgeable about that would have to look at it. We sent a letter to Passaic County. They asked for our road paving priorities. As you can imagine, I said, how about you fix the roads that we have already? But they said no, they would like something excluding that because they're gonna take care of that anyway. Our first priority was Greenwood Lake Turnpike from Monksville to Meyer King Avenue, approximately 1.19 miles. Our second priority was Sloatsburg Road to the state line, from the New York State line to Meyer King Avenue, which is approximately 1.71 miles. We also said on Monday, April 1st, the Passaic County Engineering Department notified the borough engineer not to consider the poor condition of the high friction high friction surface, so we didn't include that. And I also took a few liberties on the road paving. I said I'd also recommend Passaic County consider / investigate the following: providing a wider shoulder where possible for better bicycle accommodations, and to fix all the roadway shoulders that have been eroding. So I kind of added that into the request to Passaic County.
Is that what 14, 15 million buys us?
What's that?
Is that what 14 or 15 million buys us from the county?
Well, hopefully they'll, you know, when they pave roads, we ask them to go wider so that there's a lane for the bikes. Even if it's not an official lane, there's a spot for them to go because some of the roads are tight. This letter is of particular, I've done this for quite a few years, and I sent another letter to Governor Murphy. And I'm gonna read this one because this is important to the entire community. I want to bring to your attention an issue that is important to our community while we protect the drinking water for millions of people in the state. Under the Watershed Monetarium Offset Act, many communities are receiving compensation. However, Ringwood is not on the list. A copy of the 2018 list is enclosed for your review. We asked for an application or guidance so that Ringwood could receive the appropriate amount of money funding from this legislation, as it was designed to protect the drinking water of New Jersey. Rather than inundate you with the correspondence since 2016, I've written to the Commissioner of DCA, Governor Christie, as well as Assemblymen and Senators whose, Governor Christie.
Oh, this Christie?
Yeah,
Oh.
2016.
Oh, 16, okay, I'm sorry.
As well as the Assemblymen and the Senators whose constituents use the water for the reservoir supplies. I sent it to everybody who uses the reservoir. We've also made calls to the Office of the Commissioner and the Governor, and we've repeatedly been told that they'll look into it. To date, no one can tell us how to apply for this funding while our neighboring communities are receiving these funds. All of the letters sent to the legislators of the communities receiving the water from the reservoir, of all the letters sent to the communities receiving water, Lieutenant Governor Sheila Oliver, the time she was Assemblywoman, was the only legislator who took the time to write to the Commissioner to ask if she be advised of the process of accessing the funding for the protection of the water source. As background, the Highlands Act has basically imposed a moratorium on all development in our community under the pretense of providing clean water, which is an important issue, but our community needs to have some controlled growth in order to meet the needs and expenses of our municipality. North Jersey District Water Supply Commission, whose sole purpose is to provide water to millions of residents in New Jersey, has filed a tax appeal based partially upon the fact that the Highlands Act has devalued their land, the very land that they say they need to buffer to provide lower treatment costs. So in addition to the loss of potential ratables in our residential, commercial, and industrial tax base, we're now suffering from the tax appeal from Ringwood's largest property owner and taxpayer, which is the North Jersey District Water Supply Commission. And please, in close, please find the study done by North Jersey District Water Supply Commission, which outlines the impact of the Highlands development as it relates to the water treatment cost. Essentially, by reducing the development in the Highlands area, it reduces the cost and the impact of all the water users that pay for the water treatment. However, it also impacts Ringwood's tax base because we cannot have a slow, steady growth. While we continue to protect and preserve the water, all the communities using the water are growing at a record rate, which in turn imposes more burden on the overstressed water supply. Inasmuch as that Ringwood is the host community for the North Jersey District Water Supply Commission that provides water to millions of residents in New Jersey, and one of the only 5 municipalities in the state to be designated wholly within the Highlands Preservation Area, I felt justified in asking for an application or guidance to apply for the funding from this legislation. We do our share to protect the watershed, and I ask that the water users help to pay for the loss of revenues incurred by Ringwood for the preservation and the protection of the water. I can think of no more suitable community to receive compensation under the Watershed Monetarium Offset Act in the Borough of Ringwood. I respectfully requesting any assistance or guidance your office can provide to help our community. Your support on this issue is greatly appreciated. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. I've been asking, you know, I found this fund, and I'm surprised to hear that West Milford gets like $750,000. If you look at the list, you'd be shocked at who's getting money from this fund, and the DCA commissioner cannot tell me how to apply for it.
Who is the DCA commissioner?
I don't know who the new DCA commissioner is at this point. I sent it to the other commissioner. This I sent directly to Governor Murphy.
Yeah, I saw that you sent it to Governor Murphy. Did you ever get any answer from the correspondence you sent
The
to
only-
Chris Christie's administration
the
in
only-
2016?
The only correspondence that I've received
Was from Sheila?
was from Sheila Oliver, I believe. Yes.
And
She's
from-
Lieutenant Governor now, and she basically asked the DCA commissioner to provide us with information on how to do this. Now, somebody called my office and said, you know, it takes an act of legislature to do this, and I said, how is it possible that there's a fund set up when our neighboring community is getting almost $750,000, and all the next month I'm gonna share with you the list. You're gonna be shocked at the number of communities.
City of Patterson's on
City
there
of
for a
Patterson,
few
like,
$100.
how is this possible?
So
that
when
we're
was
not
the fund
receiving it?
set up? When, do you know
Years-
when it was
I don't know,
initiated?
I don't have it here, but
Okay.
I have all the information, I have all the letters that I've sent, and I felt strongly to send another letter saying, hey, listen, you know, please tell us how we can be part of this, and so.
And I think the funding mechanism was in the Highlands Act, right? Like when they set it up, there was like.
I don't think this is the same funding.
This is a separate fund? Okay.
I think this is separate funding than the Highlands funding.
I think this goes back to Newark threatening to sell their watershed property in West Milford and Vernon, which was a thing in the, let's say, mid-80s. Newark was gonna sell their watershed lands. And that's how this came, I think this is where it came. Because I looked into this for quite a while. I know the list, it's only about, 15 or so towns on it.
No,
Yeah.
it's a lot more than that.
Is it now? Okay, we gotta find a way to get on.
So-
But you keep on running into dead ends. You can't find out, it's not a grant program. This is a special legislative stipend. This is different.
When I was doing the tax appeal with the reservoir, and I was looking and researching and trying to find, a justification, I found this study that the reservoir did for the Highlands that said, hey, listen, if in fact you have more open lands and cut down the development, it's gonna save X amount of millions of dollars over the course of a period of time. And so as I pulled that, I found that there was this fund that's very quiet, no one seems to know about. So hopefully that the governor will be able to give us some assistance. I have not had a lot of success.
Would it be helpful if the council sent a letter
Sure.
also, so?
Well, I sent a letter on your behalf, but
Okay.
but
mean-
I certainly would call all of your legislators and try to encourage
So you
them.
have Cardinelli, Ott, and Shafisi here, those are the three that we should be lobbying to get this done?
Yeah, I sent it to all of them. I have sent it to every, this same type of letter went to every assembly or senator that uses the water from the North Jersey District Water Supply Commission.
And it wouldn't hurt for our residents to also
Absolutely
speak to
not.
their legislators. Okay, thank you.
Do you happen to have that study from North Jersey electronically, by any chance?
I can scan it. It's not that.
So that would be great. And I know it's separate branches of government, but we should send a copy of this to Congressman Gottheimer as well.
Sure.
Yeah,
Anybody who
that couldn't
can
hurt.
Listen, anybody
lean
that can
and bend an ear.
assist, anybody that can assist in helping us getting the funding that we deserve is, you know.
And I appreciate you reading the letter. Could you also read the letter from the CAG so the community knows what they're requesting?
I could.
Okay, thank you.
Real quick, just on this, pre-tax appeal, I had run the numbers with the number of residents in the towns that buy that use the water and the amount of money that they paid in taxes before the appeal. And annually, it came out to roughly 65 cents per person for the millions that use the water and put such a horrible tax burden on the residents of Ringwood. 65 cents.
It's not a lot.
What's ironic to me is I'm driving through all these communities. They're growing like there's no tomorrow. They're growing like there's no tomorrow. They need more and more water to support all of these communities. And the water comes from here, and they're getting all that tax revenue, and they're getting, and they need more and more and more, and
We're not benefiting at all.
we're not benefiting at all, and we're saving them money in their treatment of their water. I mean, their own study shows that. So, at the very least they can do is, you know, if you want us to protect this in perpetuity, you could maybe pay for it in perpetuity. So,
Is there any way we could do an outreach to the community, asking them to take action on this?
Sure.
I think if enough people, could we put it on our borough website,
yeah,
asking them to do
Sure.
it?
Sure.
Good,
We can put a
because
sample letter.
A sample letter would be great to put up there and who to contact, even with their telephone numbers. I think the more they hear from the people
I
who
think we should
vote.
put a link right on our website.
I agree. I think we want not just the council to take action, but I think this is a big thing to a lot of members of our community. And the easier we can make it for them to take action, the better off we'd be.
Can you just remind me to draft a letter that people can just link and send on the website?
Are you done, managers?
What's that?
Are you done?
A request to read this letter. I received this letter from the CAG, and also to myself and to the senior environmental engineer for Ford Motor Company. And it says, "Dear Ms. Little and Mr. Heck, we write you again about the proposed site remedy for the O'Connor Disposal Area, OCDA, at the Ringwood Mines landfill site in Ringwood. Specifically, this letter requests reconsideration of the proposed solution to protect OCDA by capping and by relocating the recycling center and sitting those facilities on top of the cap. One of our primary goals of the Ringwood Community Advisory Group has been to advocate for the immediate and surrounding communities for their inclusion in the decision-making process at the site. The remedy adopts the contingency remedy adopts a remedy for ODCA on a consolidation and contamination 4B with a record of decision. However, the proposal for the relocation of the recycling center on the top of the cap was developed without the input from the community, whom it will most affect. Members of the Ramapo tribe, Upper Ringwood residents, and the Ringwood community at large were not included in the discussions about what should be built on top of the new cap because they were not included in the discussions about the cap itself. Therefore, a new recycling center was presented as a solution before the problem itself was ever sufficiently investigated. Because there has never been a thoughtful discussion among the stakeholders about the best use for what can be built to cover the cap on OCDA, we believe it's important to hold such a meeting now. If a select remedy is to proceed, a plan in the cap is to be built on top of the site, we must include a stakeholder in determining what should be built above the cap. The community wants to have a discussion, and the representatives have already exploring alternative options of the recycling center that might be a better fit for the community as a whole. For example, it's our understanding that the Ramapo community in Upper Ringwood is interested in exploring the possibility of a community center there where they would serve as the central and nearby location for the community to gather and offer space for health services. Similarly, the residents of the borough of Ringwood have recently been involved in some conversations about the possibility of a photovoltaic solar field in both environmental and financial benefits of the Ramapo and Upper Ringwood and for all Ringwood residents. We thank you for your time and consideration, and we look for a more inclusive path and forward for the Ringwood Mines and Landfill Superfund site. My first three responses to this probably shouldn't have been sent, so I did not send them.
Okay.
I will tell you that I will propose at the next meeting a response. I think I'm doing some research because I don't think that this is necessarily as factual as I would like to see it. So I will propose at the next meeting a response for you all to consider.
Okay, thank you.
Attorney's report?
No.
Okay. Second general public portion. Anyone wanting to get up?
Seeing no one coming forth, I'd like to propose a motion to close the public session.
Second?
Roll call?
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Bolton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yep.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Okay, members of the council? We'll start with Rod.
Sure. You may or may not have seen that NewJerseyFamily.com rated Ringwood #1 in Passaic County for families to live, and it's something to be proud of. We have a few copies. This is a website, but we have a few paper copies of the little magazine that they make here at Borough Hall if you'd like one for your coffee table. Also, there are some job alerts that I'd like to make you aware of. Passaic County One-Stop Paid Summer Program. Earn while you learn on the job. Paid work experiences for youths ages 16 to 24. $10.50 an hour, 25 hours a week. First come, first served spots. You can either go in person, which is 200 Memorial Drive in Patterson, or you can call 973-742-9226, extension 7107. And another job opportunity, this one potentially well-paying, $21 an hour for the 2020 census. We have Census Bureau recruiting thousands of people for temporary jobs. The benefits of working for the census. Competitive salary, flexible hours, weekly paychecks, paid training. They need census takers, office staff, recruiting assistants, and supervisory staff. $21 an hour, it says. They're having a thing at the Clifton Library for you to go and sign up or check it out. It's 292 Piaget Ave in Clifton, Tuesday, April 23rd, 11 to 2. You can also call for more information at 973-509-0388. That's all I have for tonight.
Cool.
Thanks, Rob. Very timely with students coming home from college and looking to earn some extra income for the summer. Yeah, I'm happy to announce that the Green Team has 2 new members. Orly Steinberg is joining, and Janet Loeffler is also joining the Green Team, and we're happy to have them. In fact, Orly does an annual shredding event. This is something she's offered to the community yearly. Now it'll be included on our points for Sustainable Jersey. It is a 5-point event, and we're proud to have her and this event on the schedule for May 4th. Again, that's from 10 to 1 p.m. And also I want to remind everybody that the Green Team will be at the Earth Day celebration at the Weiss Ecology Center. Please come and visit us. Taking care of those, getting rid of one-use bags and taking the green challenge, which is BYOB, bring your own bag, so everyone's clear. It says that Americans discard more than 30 million tons of plastic a year. Only 8% of that gets recycled. The rest is ending up in landfills or burned, or, as we are well aware, becoming litter. Please take the challenge, sign up. That's another way that we can earn more points. And I just wanted to talk about the Clean Communities program that we have. I know you included in one of the grants here for $29,766.81 is what we received in 2018. I know that we have Caring for Ringwood coming up, but with this money, is there any way to really designate part of it for litter abatement?
It's all part of litter abatement, whether we use it for containers, whether we use it for the recycling center, whether we use it for picking up garbage. This stuff is all for litter abatement. And if you
Okay.
look at the litter abatement, in one point or another, the county roads are where we really need litter abatement.
And I did go down to the county and I spoke to them about that. I asked, you know, since these are county roads, are you responsible for picking up the litter? What I was told that it's actually the land. So, you know, when you're your own home, we're responsible for picking up the litter in front of our houses. It's not like the town is responsible, and I think most people do that. If you go walking through the communities, you're not gonna see the litter problem that we see on 511. So what the county told me was that the sheriff did that on a voluntary basis back when they had the manpower or woman power to do so. Lately, they haven't been up here, but they said it is the responsibility of the landowners. So I know that the North Jersey Water Commission is a big landowner on top of this property. Maybe there's some way we can work with them to make sure that they're taking action on litter abatement on these?
The county right of way is actually is the county land, so the right
Well,
of way
they
is much
said
wider.
it isn't, it's the people that own the land. I mean, you can check with the county, this is what they told me when I went down to speak with them. They said they have a right of way on every road.
Correct.
So, like I said, on residential streets, we're all responsible for picking up our own litter. On the county roads, it's the people that own the property, they're telling us, that are responsible for picking up that litter or paying for that litter to be picked up. So I'm suggesting that we go to the North Jersey Water Commission and let them know that this is what we've been told by the county, and we would maybe like to get them to reimburse the borough. Maybe we can get some more summer jobs right up here in Ringwood for our youth, picking up litter on these main streets, or it's getting the DPW out there and being reimbursed. I know they're
We go
busy
out
streets.
We go out all the time, yeah, I won't put kids out on the county roads.
Yeah,
So
they're
the
busy
county's gonna
streets.
reimburse us for the land they own along the
No,
right
I'm
of
not
ways?
saying the county,
Well, they
the
own-
people that own the land.
They own vast amounts of land, so in
Well,
sections
then
they
the
own.
county should also, yes. I
Okay,
think
I'll send a
whoever
letter
is
to
the,
both.
yeah, let's,
Yeah, I'll send-
because we have a
listen.
beautiful town, the spring is coming,
I agree.
and I really would like to see that. And I know last year you talked to the North Jersey Commission about the fencing.
Fences, yes.
And they were gonna take action. Has
Yeah, well,
anything come to
listen,
pass,
they
or
were gonna-
any
They were gonna take
promises?
action, but they asked us, even though we don't own the land, and we
Right.
don't own the fences, and it's either the county or Passaic County or Wanacue that owns it. And they decided that they would love us to give them a sign release, and they would love us to provide all the police protection. And I said, wait a minute, the county road, the county should provide police protection. The non-county roads, we could do, and if it's a reservoir, the reservoir has a bigger police force than we have.
Right.
So that's where it all fell apart, when they wanted us to provide police. We can't afford to provide police protection while they change all the fences.
Have we checked with the county to see if they would provide
They
police?
were in the meeting, and they said that they would not provide it either, so.
So we're stuck with these
Well,
unsightly fences?
unfortunately, until they worked that out, they were looking at cross agreements, although I think Mr. Eustis is much more progressive,
Mhm.
and I think that you'll probably get some more results out of the new administration at the reservoir than the previous one.
Oh, great, so we can readdress this issue this year? Okay, great, good to hear. Thank you, that's all.
Nicole, you had an announcement?
Yes, we received a letter from the letter carriers in Ringwood, and they'll be participating in the National Association of Letter Carriers to stamp out hunger, and they're doing a food drive. They ask that on May 11th, you put your non-perishable donations in a bag by your mailbox. They will collect it and they'll deliver it to the local food bank, so that's on May 11th.
Thank you. Brian?
So regarding BYOB, a request for the green team, if possible. I'm somebody who owns many bags and always remembers them on the checkout line. If there is any available signage or grants or anything that's a part of the program that, you know, you could partner with the shopping centers to install in the parking lots, reminding people to bring them in. I don't know if it is just me, it could be a highly individual problem, but I've bought a lot of those 10-cent bags to reuse, and they stay in the car. And I've seen them in Warwick, like signs reminding people that Warwick is bag-free. I don't know if it's bag-free, but bring your own bags inside. That would be great and may help people use them more often when they've got them.
It's a good point. I think you're not alone in being that one person who's standing there saying, oh my gosh, they're in the trunk of my car. Yeah, we'll look into that. That's a great suggestion. Thank you for that.
I bought a lot. So I think we have already mentioned Caring for Ringwood Day. I did want to mention we had declared the month of the child, and similar to the Letter Carriers Association, Coldwell Banker is doing a Head Start donation drive until May 3rd. And it's a great way for us to support our local Center for Family Resources. And so they are taking donations of diapers sized 4 to 6, unscented wipes, children's sunscreen, art supplies, and any new outdoor toys that people can donate. They have information on their website, and that's something great if people can contribute and can help. That's a wonderful thing. We were also talking tonight about saving funds for our seniors, and I was in the library the other day, and I was confronted by a big sign about New Jersey Save, which is a one-stop application for benefits and savings in New Jersey. And there's a number of different programs around pharmaceutical assistance, utilities assistance for not only residents who are ages 65 or older, but maybe younger and on Social Security disability or meet certain income requirements. And the library has a stack of the packets and the information for people to apply. But if you don't know it's there, you don't know to apply. So I would just encourage anybody that resonates with to swing by and get one of those packages. They also have a number of things that continue to surprise me, and I think that the library is, I think, a well-acknowledged gem within our community, and I know that we help fund it through both borough funds and volunteer time and dedication and fundraising. But every time I go in there, I'm always surprised of what people have. I didn't even know about the Builder Day or Maker's Day that Linda was talking about, and it sounds like it was a fantastic success. They have museum passes that you can borrow like a book and take your family to a museum. So for anyone who's ever heard of the Frick collection in the city, it's actually my favorite museum because it is literally the individual's home, and it's preserved state from like the robber baron days with the art collection installed as it was more or less at that time, and you get to come in and experience another era. And you can borrow passes that are free. You can get up to 4 per family, and you only pay for it if you have it out past its loan period of 3 days. So I had no idea that existed. There are passes for the Stickley Museum, things that I just didn't even know that we could take advantage of as residents. They also have coming up for lovers of the art, it's a National Poetry Month celebration coming up on Thursday the 25th from 6:30 to 8:30. So whether you are a poet who is looking to share words or just somebody who wants to take advantage of people with talent, like myself. No, I don't have talent. Poorly structured. I don't have talent. I'm just an appreciator of talent. So I would just go and listen. Said that very, very badly. And then they also have a program coming on Monday, May 6th, about college and preparing for college from a financial standpoint and how you can put together a savings program. And then they have a program where lawyers come into the library to assist residents, and that's on Thursday, May 14th. They have knitting groups, art groups, a million different things, so I encourage people to check out the site, sign up for the newsletter, and stay on top of all of the different things that the library is doing.
Thank you. John?
Progress.
Well,
no report, Mr. Mayor. I've worked too many years for the county.
Sean?
I'll keep it simple. Daylight savings is here, the weather's warming up. Observe the speed limits, look out for the bikers and the walkers, the joggers.
Okay, this past weekend on Saturday was the opening day for baseball in Ringwood. It started out as a rainy day, but turned out nice. and got to see a lot of kids line up and get ready for baseball. In the afternoon, we had the girls volleyball, and again, we had a tremendous amount of girls line up in teams, and Ringwood is very active in sports, and lots of parents coaching, so it was a good sight to see. That's all I got.
And kudos to the DPW for getting them ready. I know you had a lot of rain, and that was
not easy.
Yeah, so kudos to them.
Do you have anything exact?
I have nothing.
I have something listed, but I think I'm gonna carry it to the next meeting. Yeah, they have contacted the Records Council has contacted me relative to that lawsuit. I wasn't able to talk to him today, I returned his call, but, so I'll just carry it to the next meeting.
Okay. Can you have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Mayor Martucci?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Noonan?
Yes.
Councilmembers Colton?
Yes.
Davison?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
O'Keefe?
Yes.
Spear?
Yes.
Congratulations. Nice day.